I want to move on to the World Cup. I know we don't have too much time here. How are you feeling about CONCACAF in general, but of course the US specifically, heading into the World Cup? Confident, terrified? What would you say?
It's a bit of a tricky question here, and I want to hear your opinion on it because it's complicated. First, obviously not good for the US. We just got grouped in the Copa America and we couldn't beat Panama once again, and we couldn't beat Canada. But the World Cup, we've seen many times where teams come in terrible form. I mean, Brazil in 2002 came in terrible form and they won the World Cup. I know it's Brazil and the players they had, but still, they were in terrible form. I'm not saying the US will win it. That's not the point I'm making. It's a short tournament that sometimes you catch good form 1 week prior or during it. You get an early win in the first game, catch confidence, and the team just gets pushed forward. We haven't really seen also this team play in a 90,000 seat stadium where there will be packed with Americans, and that will happen in the World Cup. I know people like to make fun of that, but unless we play Mexico, the Americans will pack, and it'll be mostly Americans. And I don't think we're going to play Mexico in the World Cup. It's pretty tough. The bracket won't hit. We also
In the
don't
final,
know
we'll see each other.
the final Mexico and the United. Oh, that would be insane. But also on top of all of that, we have to take into account that we don't know the groups, we don't know the bracket. You could get a very lucky one, like Canada. Honestly, in the Copa America, they kind of got lucky a little bit with the bracket, the group, how things happen. You never know, right?
We called that, by the way.
Yeah. So that's the whole point. Oh yeah, we did a video about that. Remember that? Before the Copa America, we did a prediction, and we had Canada making to the semifinals, and we had thousands of people calling us idiots, and it happened. We talked about the style of play match.
Pat us on the back there. Yeah.
That is true. We did a prediction video before, both of us, and Josh, the Canadian. The Canadian didn't believe us. Remember that? Josh didn't believe us.
I don't know. Oh yeah, when the three of us were on. Yeah.
He said, no way, that's not going to. And we were just like, it might just fit the style of play with these teams that they're matching up, the physicality and the bracket. They might make it, dude. And he's like, no, not. And it happened.
I was like, I don't know, dude. Peru's pretty ass. I think you can beat them.
So it's Chile these days. So,
Jesus Christ.
And then essentially what happened was, like, depending on who the U.S. lands, the group, style of play sometimes can match, a lucky early goal. So I'm going to say this. It's definitely an all-time low for the United States besides 2017 when we failed to qualify to the 2018 World Cup. In my life, this is the second all-time low. That doesn't make sense. It's not a second all-time low. It's a low, a very low moment for the U.S. But I am going to say that I am still cautiously optimistic for the CONCACAF teams, at least the host nations. I think they're all going to get out of their group, and they're probably going to win the first knockout round, the round of 32. From there forward, I don't know. But I think I'll put it this way then. Not going to go into the U.S. specifically. I think at least one of the three host nations will be in the quarterfinals. One.
Okay. If a CONCACAF nation makes the quarterfinals, I don't care who it is. It won't be Jamaica, but let's say it's Jamaica. Are we as a CONCACAF, a North, Central, and Caribbean fan base, big happy family, are we sitting around the fireplace saying we did well? Or do we need more than that to call it a federational success?
Because of how bad we are, we would say we did well, but I don't think it's a success, right? We just saw Morocco get the first African nation to make it to a semifinals, and we saw also Ghana get very close in 2010. We've seen South Korea make it to a semifinals, right, in 2002. So the goal has to be to get a CONCACAF nations to a semifinals. I understand the complexities and difficulties of winning a World Cup. Only CONMEBOL and UEFA have done it. And at the moment, it's still just them that could win it. I see Asia with a few countries like Japan going towards that trajectory maybe 20 years from now, maybe 1 or 2 generations from now, that are going on the right path. Africa very often self-implodes. They have the talent, but they self-implode. So I'm not really counting on that. But CONCACAF ultimately needs to aim. We need to make it to the semifinals at some point. Pretty much every confederation has, besides freaking Oceania.
Yeah.
So we have to aim for that at some point. If it's not now, when is it? Do I think we will? Probably not, unless we get lucky here and there. But I mean, at some point we have to. That's what we should be proud of. Quarterfinals, It sounds like, hey, congrats, you had a solid World Cup. You did good. That's about it, right?
Yeah.
That's the way I
I
see
mean,
it.
quarterfinal, winning 2 knockout games at a World Cup for a CONCACAF side to get there, I say that's a big dub, honestly, for everybody. I don't care if it's Canada, Mexico, the US. I think that's a big dub if any of
Does
them
it
make it.
depend on who
If
you
Costa
play?
Rica did it, my God.
Well, it depends also on who you play, right? Let's say we or the US or Mexico, Canada knock out, like pull a massive upset in the round of 16 to make it to the quarterfinals. They knock out a France, Germany, Brazil, Argentina, like they knock that like historic game, right? That everyone's like, holy crap. That's different, right? That's different. So it depends on who you knock out too, because you can very well get freaking like you could play Saudi Arabia in the round of 32, and then you could play Ecuador in the round of 16. Those are two solid teams. Ecuador is a good team, but
Extremely.
it's not crazy if like the US, Mexico, or Canada beat them at home. That's not crazy. Depends on who you play too. But if you knock out, I mean, look, if the US eliminates England in any round, I don't even care what we do after. I don't even care. We could lose in the next round. I
Right.
don't give a crap. So it depends on who we play too. So it's hard to answer your question because we don't know the groups, we don't know the brackets, we don't know what's going to go on. I think this is something we should revisit in December.
I think we should revisit this in December. And I will
Mm-hmm.
conclude by saying right now, because of course it's impossible to predict without the groups, like you said. We don't even know who's going. We don't even know who the other 3 representatives are from our own region. We still don't know who's coming over from Asia. From CAF qualifiers are insane.
If Italy
Nigeria
will
might not even
qualify,
go.
if
Yeah, I
Italy will
mean,
come back.
there's a lot of things we're still waiting on, but I would say how I feel, a guy who watches a ton of CONCACAF, CONMEBOL, and AFC with CAF and UEFA periodically. I would say we're sending 6 teams, right? If we get 4 out of the group, 3 that win a knockout game, and 1 in the quarterfinals, I think that's pretty good. I would say we did well, guys. If
Yeah,
we get 3 teams to the round of 32 and they all lose, or 1 team makes it to the round of 16 at home, huge L.
yeah, I think that's fair. I'll say if that happens, we would say we had a good World Cup. It's not something that will be like historic, like making to the semifinals, but it'll be something that you're like, hey, we did good. We did good. But it's still not something too crazy, right? Because, for example, I don't know if that's even crazier than that horrible 1994 US team making it out of the one of the toughest groups in the 94 World Cup to lose to Brazil 1-0. That might have been even crazier. A team of like semi-pros getting out of that group with Colombia, title contender at the time, Romania, and I forgot who was the other team, and then losing to Brazil that went on to win just 1-0. Just 1-0. Of course, Brazil played man down a good portion of the game, but it doesn't matter. So again, what you said, true. That would be a good World Cup from CONCACAF, but it wouldn't be something to really be proud of. Like, hey, one in the semifinals. That would be something. Holy crap, that is historic.
It'd be like getting an 85 on your exam. It'd be like, oh, okay, I got an 85, right? But you're probably not going to run home and tell mom and dad like I got an 85, and you're also not going to be depressed because you got an 85.
Unless it
You
was
got an
like
85.
fluid dynamics, then if you get like a 60, you're really happy.
Is the World Cup fluid dynamics for CONCACAF teams?
Probably.
Probably.
So a
So
60
maybe
would
an
be
85 is yeah, maybe a 60. We should be popping fireworks and erecting statues
we just
for
want to
the
pass.
players
We
who
just need to pass
participated.
the course. That's it.